when we're really connected to our intuition, like we feel a lot of clarity. We have our inner guidance, we can connect into our alignment, and then we can also be in our power because we're making decisions like with our truth and our alignment. And so we're not like people pleasing or saying yes when it's really no, or overachieving or being a perfectionist, or like, all the things that are like, we have to do this thing, but really it's like we only feel like we need to do it because somebody else put that in our mind.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're raising your hand, and I think, I mean, it's beautiful that you have that awareness, and it's like society, and like being in the military, or being like, I mean, kind of growing up when we grew up, like there was a lot of pressure on, like, for me anyway, like as a teenage girl, like needing to like fit in and look a certain way, and like, it felt more important to
Yeah.
me to like, you know, need to fit in than like to be who I am, and I gave a lot of my power away doing that. And so that's like really making myself small, and
Julie,
now
I
I'm
just I just have to like really quick. So I did
yeah.
so the confidence thing, right? So I went back and because I missed the live in that one, so I went back and watched it. Everything that you just said, this is what I tend to follow. I tend to take the follower role. I make myself small around people. Um, I'm a huge pleaser, and I still don't know how to feel my intuition. So, like everything that you just said.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
That's so
I was just like, are like, can you see my notepad? Like,
no, not even when you hold it up, I can't even read it. Oh my gosh. I think that's so it's really synchronistic. Also, I mean, I think it's wonderful you went back and watched that video. And I personally feel like, and I don't know if it's because I've been just the eclipse portal, or because I've been putting myself out there and like doing this, because this was kind of like a big step for me to like kind of commit and like follow through with like, this course. And but it was like, just keep showing up, like you have to do it, just keep doing it, like it's gonna evolve, it's gonna get easier, it's gonna like be what you want it to be, but like you have to start, that was kind of the thing. But basically with you sharing that, it's like I appreciate it because it's like I feel like it gives me confirmation of like being connected to my intuition.
yes.
And like be like really being able to tune into things. So for instance, like this is really interesting because I'm supposed to get a service dog and my training was going to be in August. I pushed it back twice, and basically, long story short, I am going to have like 2 retreats next year that I can't take a dog to, actually. And then they were like, you could go in February or August, but it wasn't really much extra time to like be with the dog before leaving the dog with the dog sitter. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was supposed to make a decision by like last Monday. And then I kind of just like, I didn't have the energy. Like I was just consumed with family stuff. And then I called the lady Friday and she was already out of the office. And then we connected today, and she was actually able to move me to December, which she wasn't going to do originally. But she was like, if this would take the pressure off of like you making your decision, like we'll just put you in December after your retreats, and like it'll be good. And I'm like, it just worked itself out, and I felt so grateful of like just being patient and like letting it kind of like unfold, and then it worked out like even better than I could have imagined. And so it's kind of just like that. And so know that like you are doing all the right things, and this is a process. Like, this did not happen for me overnight.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. And it's still like, I still have to, you know, I still have to like test myself sometimes of like, oh, do I want to go eat sushi, or do I want to go eat this other food, or
Yeah.
like, what is my intuition guiding me, you know? And
Yeah.
like get it and be okay like getting it wrong. I mean, it's better to, you know, maybe not, you know, if it's like kind of low, something like low risk, then it's like not a big deal, right? If it's like what I'm going to eat for dinner and like my intuition says one thing and I eat something else, it's like there's no risk in that, really. It's like I'm just learning.
Yeah.
So James and I did a lot of that, like, you know, when we were together, because we had a lot of days like that, specifically with food, which is weird, but so yeah, I mean, I think like you're here and you're doing the practices now and you're showing up for yourself and you're committed, and that is like that's beautiful. And I think, you know, as we regulate the nervous system and start to kind of connect into our alignment and like what is true for me, then we can really tell like, you know, what the intuition is and what it feels like. And so let me see what the next slide is. Yeah, okay. So then it does help us like where we're not people pleasing and we're in our boundaries, because we're so embodied in our truth and knowing like exactly what our yes and what our no is that we just like we're not going to we're not going to we're not going to disregard our own guidance to try to please somebody else. Like we kind of like learn to move past that, and in that we actually take our power back. And so then we can really be in our power of like, wow. And honestly, you know, and this is kind of hard because sometimes, you know, we want to please others because we don't want to hurt their feelings or we don't want them to feel bad. But generally, when we can learn to really be in our truth and say yes and say no and no, it actually is better for everyone. And you know, because they might be people pleasing too, or you know, there might be a trigger that needs to happen that's not happening. And you know, what I found is that like when I'm in my alignment, it's gonna best serve everybody, even if they're triggered, because I'm following like my truth and my heart. And that's their lesson. If they take it personally, like that's their lesson, you know, that they have to go through. But generally it helps to kind of like, it also, there can be, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've experienced this in my journey. There can be times where there are relationship, not just intimate relationships, but like friendships and coworkerships and all kinds of people in our life that we end up like our friends change and evolve as we change and evolve. Sometimes, you know, we can have some friends that we've had for a long time, and sometimes, you know, people, they do take things personally and they don't understand, and like it's and there's really nothing you can do, you know, except for evaluate like the relationship itself. So uh, and that can be really tough. That is like really challenging, because I've had, before I started really my journey, like I had so many friends, like so many friends. And and then I like went to like two friends. And then I had some friend groups, and then like even those have transitioned over the last like, you know, 5 to 8 years. And it's been interesting, but like then the people now that I'm like connected to and close to, I'm like close to, you know,
Right.
and they're like, they get me, and like they're not going to take things personally, and like it's like nourishing, and like they, you know, they're like a true friend. um so you know, that can be like another piece of this that we can't even really get into, like probably in this course, because that could be
Yeah.
probably like another course. Um, but you know, I think you know, it's really interesting because I'm learning a lot from you know, I'm learning a lot from you and from, you know, there's another girl that's watching the replays and she's asked some questions and it's really helpful to see kind of like what's helping and then what questions you have and then where you're at, because then I can kind of evolve like what I'm teaching based on, you know, kind of what people are working through, which is beautiful. So what does the intuition feel like? So the intuition, it can feel a little different for everybody, but generally, you know, we want to feel our intuition in our body. And so this could be in our gut, this could be in our heart, this could be in our sacral, you know, it could just be like an expansion in our body, like an opening or like a contraction. And so what I say is like start to pay attention to when you make decisions, how does it feel? And I think we talked about this the one time when you were trying to make that decision if you were like going to go to Vegas or not Vegas, but that like one conference or not. I think we had
Oh,
kind of
yes. Mm-hmm.
we had kind of talked about that a little bit there, but it's like, you know, it's just like starting to bring the awareness to like, what does this feel like in my body? Like, does it feel exciting? Does it feel like like I'm expanding? Does it feel like an inner knowing, or does it feel like I'm tightening up and I'm tense and it's like stressing me out, you know? And so that's one way. Another way is the intuition, and I did have a video on this, but I don't think I posted it, but the intuition doesn't justify its decision. So like for instance, if I was going to go to a retreat and my, you know, my initial response was like, yes, I want to do it, like my soul is like feeling called to go. But then I'm like, oh, but you know, can I afford it? Or can, you know, is this good timing? Or do I really want to go to this place? Or that is like the mind kind of like trying to rationalize why I shouldn't do it. Right. That's not saying like I should or shouldn't do it, but it's like generally when it's the thinking mind, it wants to rationalize its decision, right? One way or the other, it's like, oh, well, you should do this because of this, this, and this, or you shouldn't do this because of this, this, and this. So when we get too caught up in our mind, then, you know, it starts to like kind of go in a hamster wheel of like, you know, rationalizing whatever the thing is, where our intuition is just like, go this way, you know, or go this way. And it might not even make sense sometimes either. And it's kind of tricky because sometimes it can be like a whisper and sometimes it can be like a scream. You know, it can feel like really exciting, like, oh my gosh, like, fuck yeah, like that is what I want to do. But it could also be like, hey, I'm over here, like, come this way, you know? And it's like, and I think that can be a little more tricky because, you know, we have to like really be listening. And that's where like the mindfulness and like the being present and things like that come in. Because I remember one time a couple years ago, I had been house sitting and then I didn't have anywhere to go for like a couple weeks, and but I was taking this online course and I needed internet every day, and I was like, what am I going to do? I was like at my friends like freaking out. I was like, I'm going to have to get a hotel, like I need internet, I can't just sleep in my car, like, you know, or whatever. And then it like intuitively hit me to reach out to a friend who I thought maybe I could stay with. And it turned out this friend, his father had just passed away, and he actually needed a plant sitter at his place while he went and like was out of state.
Wow.
And I could just go stay at his place for a month. And it was just like, you know, it was like, and I was like freaking out. I was like all stressed out, like, what am I gonna do? You know, and then I was like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like very clear. It was like, oh, just text Sean and just see. you know, it was and I was like, really, like, really, should I do that? And like, I did it, and then like there was a place. Another thing was like I went to the Unison Festival, and I got like this inspiration of like I was trying to volunteering was kind of last resort. I was trying to get in a couple ways without buying a ticket, and and you know, my intuition was like randomly, I wasn't thinking about it or anything, but it was like, just post on Facebook to see if somebody has an extra ticket, like a +1.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't know if that, like, that never works when I when I do that for things. Like, I've done this before for festivals or whatever, but it was like, no, just do it. And so I did it. And then this one lady that was like the workshop coordinator reached out to me and was like, are you a massage therapist? Because I have in my contract, I can get a +1 for body work. And I was able to like be her +1 and like give her a massage, like in trade for going.
That's
And it's
cool.
just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like little things like that that I like never would think, you know, because sometimes I post and maybe I think it's my intuition, and then like crickets, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of like when it comes, like it comes, and it's, you know, but it's practice, you know, it's just practice. I hope that was helpful.
No, no, it is.
So I we can